Hey, this is Tom from Rocket Restorations. Well, yes, we got a puppy and we named him Hemi. Hemi, can you say hi to everybody? Can you say hi? Yeah, that's the new puppy. That's the new shop dog. What do you think? Can you keep him? He's pretty adorable. All right, back to the matter at hand. So today, what we're doing is, well, let me start over again. This is Tom from Rocket Restorations, and today we're going to show you what the difference between a 1961 Polara and a 1961 Dodge Phoenix is. We did one of these at McCacken. It was a factory cross ram car, and I just wanted to go a little more in depth. I said that there was differences between a Polara and a Phoenix, and I just want to show you what they were. So, first of all, the 61 Dodge styling is polarizing, to say the least. They have the reverse tail fins and kind of a pug face. I don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, it's definitely a unique styling, and it's to the point where it's like, it's kind of so ugly it's cool. So a couple of small notes on this too is the Phoenix actually has a, I think that's a 62-880 grill with the slots in it. This one's actually the right grill, so it's probably been changed at some point. So the white one we're starting out with here is a Polara. All Polaras were big block cars. Water's come flying out of the hood. So this is a 361 2-barrel. You get a 383 in these, 383 4-barrel or the cross ram. Cross ram had the two big intakes going either side. Easy way to tell cross ram cars if they have bolt-in inner fenders. So they have a piece like right here that bolts in so you can get the spark plugs underneath the intake runners. This one's obviously a 2-barrel car, but it's really solid Oregon car. Jamie from Dead Dodge Garage did a video on this and tried to get it running, and I think this is the first one he's not gotten running at the place, and we're still not quite sure what happened. It was turning over and then it didn't, so I don't know if it spun a bearing or something, but this thing had been sitting in the high desert of Oregon for a very, very long time. But so yeah, so this one's a Polara, so obviously that has the Polara emblems on the fender. Half of that's broken off. They have trim that goes all the way down that ends in the fender. Phoenix has one that's a little bit shorter, and the Senecas do too, and the Darts. They have, you know, split bench interior. They all had the same steering wheel. It was power steering, or the base one if you didn't have power steering. They have the see-through dash, which is super cool. And this is what's called the high window. So this was optional in the low model cars, but every Polara got it. But this is a giant rear window, which really makes the greenhouse look a lot cooler on these. They look a lot better. What do you think, Hemi? Do you like it? He likes it. And my personal favorite on the Polara is the rocket taillights. You know, this is Rocket Restoration, so we're going to talk about this. So basically what they did is they had this little chrome scallop here, and it basically looks like rocket engines coming out the back, which is super, super cool. And they also had a longer wheelbase, and the wheelbase difference is right here in the quarter panel. So let me go over the Phoenix real quick, and I'll kind of show you the difference. So the red car here is a Dodge Phoenix convertible. You know, obviously some differences here. So the fender emblems, that forward look emblem, which I really love that emblem. It's very, very neat, very, very cool. I love the forward look emblem. See, the side trim's a little different. So on the Polara, it's a little bit lower because of that, the taillights. It also ends in the fender. On the Phoenix, it ends on the door, and it has two going back to the one. But I said the biggest difference here is the back of the quarter panel. So the Phoenix standard just had the lights on the bottom there, and then the upper lights were actually dealer accessory lights. So they were added by dealers back in the day. Or you could get it from the factory too, but it was kind of a way just to tart these up. But as you can see on this, it just has the regular quarter panel with the chrome around it. On the Polara, it has the rocket taillights, which again, I think those taillights are, for as ugly as the front end is on that, the rear end is equally cool. This one actually still has the dealership plaque on it. This came from Reedman in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Reedman's actually a pretty famous dealership. They had all makes. There's like pictures from back in the day of that dealership that it took up like multiple city blocks. They were a huge dealership. They sold like, I was looking at the Max Wedge book. They sold like 20 Max Wedge cars, lots of Hemi cars. They were a big performance, big volume dealer back in the day back there. Obviously, this one's a convertible, so it's a little bit different. This is the Polara had the high window standard. It was optional on the Phoenix, but this one's a convertible, so obviously it's not there. This one has the same steering wheel, the power steering wheel, and then it has that, it's a, I guess a 60-40 or 70-30 split bench seat. Obviously, these have been out in the weather for a while. These came out of Central Oregon, which, if you're not familiar with the area, is actually a pretty dry area. So they have the scallops on the hood, which is kind of it's a cool design feature they put on these. Dodge on here, and then the Phoenixes were 318 poly motors, and we got this one's stuck, so we tried to get it running, but the motor's stuck, unfortunately. And you could get what was called the D500 on, and that was on the Polara and the Phoenix. So the D500 was a 4-barrel, so that would be I think it was a 361 4-barrel on a Phoenix. It was a 383 4-barrel on a Polara, and then you get the cross ram too, D500. They had a really cool emblem on the back on a factory D500 car. But yeah, and then the grills are pretty much the same. The front ends, the fenders, you know, obviously the difference in fenders was the trim, you know, only goes about halfway on that. So yeah, and then the convertible had, you know, obviously convertible top. So but yeah, they're pretty neat cars. So okay, now I gotta figure out the grill thing, because now I'm trying to remember what the deal is. Okay, so I think what I said earlier is wrong. I think this grill is a 62-880, and the hood's been changed too, because this does not have the louvers, and I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have the louvers that the Phoenix has. So this had some front arm parts changed at some point. But some interesting Chrysler history. And so 62, when they downsized everything, Dodge Plymouth dealers basically panicked. So the only full-size car Chrysler really had was the 300 and the Newport. There wasn't any full-size Dodge. I mean, they had it was the Dodge Dart, 62 Dodge Dart, which is a B-body, and then they had you know, the 62 Plymouth. So what they did is they did a crash course and made the 62 Dodge 880, which is basically a 62 Chrysler, but with a Dodge nose. So they basically recycled the 61 Dodge nose for 62. So, and they changed the grille a little bit, so it didn't have the openings. I'm pretty sure I said that wrong earlier. So I'm pretty sure this is the 62 grille. That's the 61 grille. As you can see, they're basically identical except for little holes on top. You know, they had to justify the change. They changed it just a hair. You know, wasn't very much, but they changed it just a little bit. And then they had a big Dodge emblem in the middle of the grille, a big frat zog that they put on there. So, but yeah, then the 880 actually continued till 65. That was kind of controversial too. So they didn't have any, you know, the Chrysler was the only long wheelbase car. So California Highway Patrol, CHP, they had a minimum wheelbase requirement, which was 122. And the B-bodies were not that long. They were, I think, 118 and 119. Don't quote me on that, but they were too short for California Highway Patrol. So they actually ran 62 Chryslers, which I actually have 2 of them here. It's kind of a rare car, but they actually ran 62 Chrysler police cars. It's funny, I found some old newspaper articles from Washington where they're making fun of the CHP guys, that they're like, they were like driving the high class cars, like they were driving like limos and luxury transports because they were driving Chryslers. I mean, they were basically just, you know, it was a Chrysler, but they were still pretty bare bones. So, but yeah, just wanted to kind of show you some of the differences between the two cars. 1961 Dodge Polara versus a 1961 Dodge Phoenix. The Phoenix is a convertible. These both kind of came from the high desert of Oregon, so they're really in pretty good shape. So I hope you guys liked the video. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon. Hemi, can you say bye to everybody? Nah, he's busy scratching himself. All right, thanks for watching.